before the video starts, I just want to get this out of the way that SdSlayer had the idea first and already made an ice island for GD World. But this one's fire, so I guess it's different. First, I'm going to show you the progress of making the layouts for these GD World levels, and then I'll just make a showcase of the decoration of them, because filming decoration is just boring. You can't deny it. The main focus of the first level was going to be breakable blocks, since it wasn't introduced in all three of the islands, so including SdSlayer's island, and because RobTop never really introduced them well. Because the first time they were introduced was in Electromad Adventures, and they were in it for a teensy bit, and then they were used a bit in Theory of Everything 2, which is a demon level and is not good. You shouldn't introduce stuff in a demon level, except it's something that really changes the gameplay. For example, Club Step. First off, I started the level with some simple spike jumps. Then I added a couple of platforms. And then I added the first introduction of the breakable blocks, just being a simple platform. And then right after that, I would add another introduction of the breakable blocks, where you would have no other choice than to ram into them. Then I just continued this very simple gameplay of making some simple jumps from platforms to platforms, and other parts where you needed to go on the breakable blocks or through them. And then at the quote-unquote drop part of the level, I added just a simple ball part. Here it would just be going up into portals or just to other platforms, or other times onto breakable blocks, where you would have to click inside of them so that you'd change gravity. This was a kind of cool gimmick and something that I used a lot in the level. And this continued for the whole ball part. Nothing much to say about this part. It's just very simple sync and just, breakable blocks everywhere. And the gravity switching thing with a portal continued for the whole part too. And then we come to the ending cube, which just has some simple jumps from platform to platform, some orbs, some pads, and a lot of breakable blocks. And at the very ending, there are some spike jumps to kind of indicate the start. I don't know, it's just a good way to end the level, I guess. The main focus of this level was going to be Mini Portal. And in this one, I took a bit of a different approach. First, I changed the background and actually made the first color a reddish pink for objects, and I made the object color black and added a lot of pulses. So this one's it is a layout, but I added a lot more than the other one in the very start. Though this one does have a bit of similarity. It just doesn't have any spikes at the start. Instead, it has some saws. Another similarity being that there are a lot of platforms at the start, before we actually get to the quote-unquote drop part. I don't know. Here it's a lot more of a drop because the music, it changed a lot more. The other one is not really. I don't know. Though I did kind of steal the mini part from Clutterfunk. I didn't copy and paste it, it's just I had the idea of Clutterfunk, where it's a lot of these closed in spaces by the mini, but then you have a lot more space in the normal size. So it's it shrinks and it grows in size. I don't know. It's just it's a good idea and I liked it, so I used it in this level too. Let's just skip this part because it is kind of boring. And then to finish it off, we have a ship part where you change your size a lot. A lot. In this level, I introduced 3 things. First, being slopes. Second was the robot game mode. And third, being dual. Now, the speed changing was introduced by SdSlayer in one of his levels, in the Ice Island. So that officially allows me to use it. Like, by it, I mean the speed portals. So then there were a couple of platforms and slopes in the start. Then there would be a 2x speed ship part, where I would use slopes a lot. Yeah, no, I pretty much just exactly copied the hexagon force part, I'm sorry. I mean, I didn't exactly copy it, but it looks very similar, and there is even a clubstep monster in it, so... yeah, I don't know. Anyway, the making of this was pretty boring, because I didn't make any sync. It was just a lot of slopes and platforms going up and down and up and down. So I will skip this part for your sanity, and then we will get to the duel part. And yes, I know, maybe this isn't the best introduction to duel, because it is at triple speed. So in the start it was symmetrical, and then I made it a bit unsymmetrical, and then I made it symmetrical again, and then I made it not symmetrical. Yeah, it was very fun making this, but I don't know if you would like watching a time lapse of me just making a level, so yeah. And then I ended off the level with a very, very simple robot part, which takes a lot of inspiration from the robot part in Geometrical Dominator. And then later on I made it into quadruple speed because it synced, and then I just ended the level. Yeah. Next level! Damn, I'm speeding through this really quickly. You do not know how many days it took me to make these layouts and, well, decorate them. But anyway, yeah, this is the 4th level, which would introduce the teleportation portal. And I also used the wave in this because I felt like it, and because you're able to make cool wave gameplay with teleportation portals. First time they got introduced in this level is where you would go into one and then it would send you up onto a platform high up. I liked this introduction because it just feels really smooth and it's very easy to adapt to. Then there are some jumps and some orb jumps, and then you get teleported back to the ground. There's some simple gameplay here, and then we go to a wave part. In this wave part, you would go over some slopes, and then you would fall into a portal or go into one. This continued on for the whole entire part. There's nothing much to say about this. It's very boring gameplay, but it just gets carried by the teleport portals. Also, I had a lot of I was struggling a lot with the thing that you wouldn't be just able to skip the portal, because it always looked disgusting, or sometimes it would be too fat, and sometimes it just wouldn't sync. So yeah, this part took me very long to do, but there's nothing very complicated about it. And then we get into a very, very simple ship part, where there are just some structures that are on the ceiling or are on the ground, and also there are teleport portals that just teleport you from up to down or from down to up. Nothing much to say about this, so let's just go to the ending cube. Then there's a teleport portal that brings you down to the floor and also changes your gravity. And then there are some clubstep monsters that have some spikes that you jump over, and then the level ends. This one took me by far the longest to make, and I have no explanation why. It's very simple, but it just took me very long to make. And oh my god. I was in the middle of editing this video, and only now I found out that I didn't record making the layout for the last level. So I need to give you a summary, and you need to imagine the layout. I'm truly sorry for this. So it's just a spider part, which is very simple. It's literally just a spider part. There's nothing special about it. It's just a spider part. And yeah, it's just like that, and then it changes speed by the drop. And every single obstacle moves because I felt like it. So let's get into the showcases.